Soggy.
Yeah, you had to say it, didn't
Sorry. Do you prefer soggy to moist?
you? Neither. Yeah. No, I prefer moist. I believe we're having this conversation.
I was a mod, Jess.
Mum, you really?
I didn't have a scooter. Did you have a scooter?
No.
We heard you like Puttanesca.
Thank you. I do.
You don't like to call it Puttanesca, though.
I don't mind privately calling it
Fine.
Puttanesca, but I just wonder about in public
Respectfully.
domain.
Got it.
I can't relax around takeaway food. It just doesn't. By the time it gets to me, I think it's over.
Presentation,
I don't know.
isn't
It's
it?
been on a bike, and he said, "Hey, kids, don't buy drugs. Become a rock star. People give you them for free. Am I right? Am I right?" Like that. And I was like, "Drugs? No. I got no drugs." So now there will be people walking around wearing long johns with my doodle on their bum.
Hello and welcome to Table Manners. I'm here at Lenny's. How are you, Mum?
I'm very well.
Are you?
Yeah.
Did you have a nice weekend?
Lovely. You were there, darling.
Yes, thank you. You did a very
was
nice
it-
egg salad.
Oh, I've still got a bit in the fridge.
I had a really busy weekend. I went to Gladiators Live.
Fabulous.
And then I went to see my friend Dev Hines perform at Ali Palais.
How was that?
And a previous guest on the podcast, lovely Naomi Scott, supported him, and it was really brilliant. She sung amazingly.
Is she now a pop star?
Yeah.
A whole new world.
She can just do whatever she wants, basically. It was great, and Dev was absolutely fantastic. But something happened at the gig,
What happened?
which was quite a revelation
Wasn't
for me.
gunshots like the time you went to see that?
Nars,
One-
no, it was
yeah.
a blood orange gig, Mum. It was very
Okay.
head noddy,
Okay.
pitchforky, very respectful.
Pitchforky.
Muso, very respectful. A girl came
Yeah.
up to me
And said,
and said, "Excuse me, do you do that podcast?" And I said, "Yes, I do." And she said, "Are you Lenny Ware?"
so I now look in my 40s.
And I now look like I'm in my
your
70s.
70s.
Or the fact that I was at a music gig and first I'm that girl Lenny off the podcast. I don't know whether I should bother bringing out the next record. It
Maybe
was
not, darling.
hysterical, and producer Alice was with me, and the way all my friends around me cackled.
Of course they did, darling.
So yeah,
Did
you're
you-
big in the Gen Z muso world, Lenny.
Okay, darling. That's great. Do you want me to be on your video instead of you?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what we need
Maybe
to do.
we'll
It's
just-
just too confusing though.
Well, do that. What's that thing with Tom Hanks where he becomes young again?
Big.
Because we look a bit alike. Maybe you should play me older and I'll play you younger.
Maybe you should just calm down.
Okay.
Anyway, today you are in charge of the food.
Yeah.
We have
I
the excellent Bill Nighy coming on.
can't wait.
He has a new podcast
I know.
called Ill Advised by Bill Nighy. And it's basically him being an agony uncle to try and help people through life with all their queries and questions. It can be, what would you bring as a present for a host for a dinner party?
Did you know the greatest air guitar piece was Bradley Cooper?
Well, now
playing
I
a
do.
Neil Young.
I also really appreciated his air guitar
Me too.
on a podcast. That
Yeah,
was excellent.
that was
Bill.
excellent,
Thank
yeah.
you.
And he played it twice.
Yes, he did. So yeah, we have Bill Nighy coming on, and we're really excited about having him.
I am.
He's
Quite
we're very-
precise about food.
Well, no, I think we're lucky because producer Alice also produces Bill's podcast.
But he likes what he likes.
So Alice has been very helpful,
Yeah.
and so we got kind of a request in. So what is on the menu today?
Pasta Puttanesca.
Because this is what Bill likes.
Bill loves it. Probably not as much chili as he would have liked.
Have you put any in?
Yeah. of
Are
course.
you okay with him adding?
I've got
chili?
me chili flakes here, but I have made some padron peppers as well
Right.
that he can just pick and eat, just in case he needs a little bit of pepper.
Padron peppers aren't that spicy, Mum.
No, I know, but he'll just have to put up with it.
You're
It
doing-
was the thought that counts.
Yes, and then you've got a big cheese board for after.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah.
I'm very excited because he's a massive Marmite fan.
Shall I get
I
Marmite
think he would
out?
almost say that he's more of a Marmite fan than me, which I think is
No, I think that's pushing it.
ridiculous.
No.
But he loves it. We've got lots to talk about with Bill
Yeah.
Nighy. Bill Nighy coming up on Table Manners. Bill, Thank you for being here.
My pleasure.
Looking fantastic, may we add. Your own collection?
Yeah, no. If you'd have told me when I was 17 that I would grow up and I would collaborate with John Smedley on a collection of their leisure wear, I would have arranged to be more cheerful in my early life. And I wore John Smedley polos, which were an essential mod item when I was a young man. I used to save up for them because they were out of my range, but and I wore them in frontline defiance of the silk shirt open to the third button, which was never going to happen because I didn't have the shape for that, and also the tie-dye T-shirt doused in patchouli oil. And we were pioneers, young mods. And if I do nothing else with my life, there will always be this.
You've achieved this.
And the groovy thing, the other groovy thing, a word groovy, which I never used when it was groovy to use it because it was always sounded so lame, but now it's drenched in irony through time, so I'm allowed to use it in a postmodern ironic way. What's also groovy about it is that they asked me if I doodled anything, and I doodle little birds on my scripts, and I've done it for 1,000 years. And it's the only thing, I can't draw. The only thing I do is cartoon-like birds on my scripts. And if I get a really good one where I think I've really nailed it, I photograph it now because I have a phone.
And they put it on.
So they embroidered it. It's
Oh my God.
In fact, this is a prototype. There's one, there's where it is.
I love these birds.
Yeah, they're little birds. That one, they gave them...
Like a robin redbreast, maybe?
Search me. I really don't know. They come in different shapes and sizes. And they've named them now. One's called George and one's called Peter. There's two different ones. But the great thing about it is that I asked them where were the long johns, because they used to do long johns, John Smedley. They started, John Smedley was a hosier in 1760 or something, and he made underwear. But they used to do thermals top and bottom, and they'd stopped doing them. So when I got around to collaborating with them, I said, can we not do some thermals? So now there will be people walking around wearing long johns with my doodle
Because
on their
of you.
bum.
And you love that. That tickles you.
Well, it just, I
Did
mean,
they approach you?
they approached us, yeah, they did.
Because
Yeah,
they
well,
knew
because
about your love of John Smedley?
Yeah, I've made no secret of my dedication to the brand over the years.
The colour's fab.
Well, this
It's-
colour,
that
yeah,
navy
well,
is
yeah,
gorgeous.
yeah, navy
Is that a John Smedley suit?
No, they don't make suits.
Okay,
Is that the
shame.
next?
Next.
Hooray.
Well, I've always wanted to do, and here I am reaching out for sponsorship. I've always wanted to collaborate with Marks and Spencer's.
Oh, don't we
Oh,
all?
shush.
Bill, we should all be in that Christmas campaign.
Bill.
Or are
Really?
you already in it?
I'm not in it.
I think that looks Paul Smith.
No,
Don't
this
tell
is
me
actually
that's M&S.
no.
That would have sealed the deal, mate.
Well,
Yeah.
no. What made me think of it in the first place was that 1,000 years ago, Paul Smith did a range of suits for Marks and Spencer.
Yeah, you see.
And you could buy the shape, and they were in two colours, and you could buy the Paul Smith silhouette for like 120 quid, which I thought was a very satisfying thing. And I've always loved the idea of mass-produced stuff, you know what I mean? It's like I remember reading that Andy Warhol used to go to Bloomingdale's every New Year and buy 100 pairs of classic white jockey underpants.
Why, did he not wash them? He just threw them away?
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not that, you know what I
Okay.
mean? But that's a very good thought. I think that's almost certainly the case. So he had 100 clean days. But he used to get them to take out all the psychedelic ones and all the sort of candy stripe ones, and he knew he wasn't going to buy them, but he'd just have them bring them out, and then he'd buy. I just like bulk buying. And when I didn't have any money, and I used to hear about people who bought 6 shirts, it was so like kind of out, you know what I mean? It was so sort of glamorous that you went in. If you really liked a shirt, you bought it 6 times, which seemed to be
I do
so...
that a bit. If I find something that fits me and I quite like, I'll
Yeah,
buy it
yeah.
in every colour.
Oh, yeah.
And then I'll buy 2 in the same colour in case one wears out and goes a bit funny.
Yeah, why not?
So who's that suit by?
This suit is by P. Johnson, who are in Percy Street. P. Johnson are a bunch of very inspired young Australian men, and they've got an algorithm. Don't ask me to explain it because I don't understand, but they take measurements, mysterious measurements that I've never had taken before, and they also interpret what you want rather than trying to tell you what you want, which is vital, because there are places where they try and impose a kind of house style, which I think is wrong. First time anybody ever said... I mean, the thing is, when the ironic, I keep using that word and I'm not sure if it's correct, but, the thing is, when you make some money, they call you up and say, has Mr. Nighy got everything he needs? In other words, they're going to give you stuff. Why didn't they do that when I didn't have any money? Anyway, it's obvious. But the first time anybody made me a suit, I was specifying what I wanted, and I wanted a single vent in the jacket because I've never been able to rationalize why anybody would want to slash a jacket twice up the back unless you're involved in horse riding or something of that kind. And I want a single pleat at the front on the trouser, and he said, you can't have that. I said, who would we be offending? He said, you'd be offending the great god Sartorius. I said, I don't believe in God. He said, well, you'd be offending me. I said, well, but you're not going to be around when I'm wearing it. Anyway, he now happily...
So how many vents have you got?
Only one.
Only
He
one.
gets what
Lenny.
he wants.
Lenny.
Yeah, of course.
Do
It's only
most men only wear one vented suit?
No, it's now become, everybody's got two vents.
And
But I think
would
I've
you
got
ever
one.
would you ever wear double-breasted?
I have worn a double-breasted, but they're kind of risky double-breasted. I mean, they're hard. Well, they're hard to construct, and they've got to be. I did once. I spent all the money I had when I didn't have much money on an Armani dark blue double-breasted suit with
Was it
wide
beautiful?
trousers. It was. I wore it. I lived in it. I slept in it. I kind of, I did everything in it. Because when I was younger, I used to do jobs which would be like a suit job. You'd get a suit job on the telly or something, and you wouldn't have much money, but they would let you buy the suit afterwards, after the gig, for like half price or a third of the price. And sometimes
It was worth doing it.
it was absolutely worth doing it. So I wouldn't have any clothes, but I would have an Yves Saint Laurent suit. But it would become like my overalls, and I would do everything in it.
Yeah.
Because I used to have a mate of mine called John Brown, who used to work at Dunn & Co. You might remember
Yeah.
Dunn & Co. They were a kind of
Yeah.
high street all over the
Old-fashioned.
country. Well, they were what your dad wore.
Yeah.
But we, as young, ironic would-be mods, we'd go there and buy pleated trousers, which were like social death in 1971 or whatever. You know
Did
what
you
I mean?
have a long raincoat as well?
I did have a long raincoat,
course.
and
I was
you'd have a
mod,
Crombie,
Jessie.
and you'd
You
have,
were not a mod,
I was a
Mum.
mod,
Please give me
darling.
strength.
I went to the
You-
Twisted Wheel in Manchester, which was you heard of it.
oh
It's a
yeah, I
light
have
club.
heard of the Twisted
And
Wheel.
it was the best clubbing. And
Sorry, Mum, what, you were wearing a little polo shirt?
No, I didn't wear a polo shirt, but you had your hair done Vidal Sassoon. You had
Yeah.
a long thing over your face.
Yeah.
It was half cut up there. So
Yeah.
it
Is
that
looked
just
like
Manchester,
And you had a
or-
V in the back of your head.
Yeah.
And then you had a long raincoat, which you wore almost inside as well.
Yeah.
And you wore kind of quite... I was a mod, Jess.
Mum, you really?
I didn't have a scooter. Did you have a scooter?
No.
Have you ever? I mean, we're not. I
you want
don't
me to
know.
put the
Yeah, put the
food-
food on
Yeah.
because Bill's hungry.
Yeah.
And I should ask you some food questions.
Sure.
But I've also got, because I've been listening to your podcast, which is brilliant,
Thank you.
and you have these like dulcet tones, which I know somebody met, like what, you're very relaxing. It's quite reassuring. You also give good advice, I think. It's basically the premise of it. Well, why don't you explain the premise of your podcast if people don't know? You're in your first season.
Well, the thing I like best about it is that it's an invitation to squander time. It's like a cup of tea with me, and we try to be inconsequential. The premise was something to do with the fact that when you get to my age, the risk is that you are mistaken for somebody who knows what to do. You know, that you've gathered all this wisdom in your time, which you've only got to look at the newspaper or on the internet to see how that's working out in the world, while these old men go around making a mess of everything. But there are questions. Members of the public ask questions.
And let's talk about the fact that it's members of the public, and you've got people from Mongolia
Yeah.
calling in,
Yeah.
Italy. I mean, you're very international, Bill.
Yeah. No, it's quite. I didn't imagine that. I didn't imagine anyone was going to be much listening to it. But anyway, yeah, we spread the planet wide, and people have got concerns about trousers and stuff like that, and they need to know. They need information. I'm quite good on trousers. I'm not so good on what to do with my girlfriend. I got one question from a woman in Australia, I think, who said that I think my husband thinks I love my houseplants more than I love him. Like I'm going to know the answer to that.
So
But
did you not answer that one?
I can't remember. The either the bad thing or the good thing, I think it's probably the good thing about the whole thing, is that I can never remember what I've said. People come up to me in the street and say, well, I don't feel like that about whatever, and I think, what? Why are you telling me that? And it's because I've said something, because my mind goes blank once we've recorded.
Do you feel like if somebody asked you the same question on another day, you'd give them a completely different answer?
No.
Or does your opinion on linen remains?
Oh, no, that's forever. I mean, I think it's as plain as the, I mean, how can anyone not know that? I mean, linen's okay for women, I think. Just.
See,
if they insist. But
I love linen.
oh, well, there you go. That's good. I've got
a bit Hampstead therapist.
But maybe I want to look Hampstead therapist.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong. I don't. That's very good.
No,
I don't
they
know.
do. They all look like they're working at the Tavistock.
Well, I like librarian chic.
What's that?
Well, that's basically a
Little
form of
twin
mod.
sets.
Yeah, ironic twin set. There was a subgenre of mod.
Bill, you've used the word ironic
a lot, haven't you?
A lot.
I know.
Is your
We just need to get
podcast
groovy
ironic?
up to the same.
My podcast is dead without irony. If they don't get the joke, I'm lost. The idea is that it's a joke to think that I can answer anybody's question. But as long as I don't start using the word iconic, then we're
Rather than ironic, yeah.
or instead of then we.
But you are a fashionista, aren't you?
What does that mean? I'm like that's
you
very close to
style-
fascist.
You're stylish. You look gorgeous.
Well, that's very
it's
nice
not
of you to say.
Nice. You walk in and there's a presence there. You look like a stylish man.
Well, thank you very much for saying so. I mean, partly it's basic insecurity. I've never liked anything about myself very much. I've always been kind of disappointed in my body. And I've always kind of, it's all right. And now I look back and if ever I catch a sight, which I try not to, of an image of me when I was younger, I was thinking, well, what's wrong?
You were
I look
all right.
But at the time...
You think,
I
know, I feel the same.
So I thought, well, I'll, as long as if you dress, at my age, the responsibility is to be reasonably well turned out, because otherwise, what's happening. But, and therefore it's, if I put a suit on, it's always going to be a better shape than I am. That's the idea. It's basically what you pay for when you buy clothes. It's like with couture dresses for women, they bring you a figure, and men used to have big shoulders and, and they have tight waists.
Like Mad Men.
I guess so. I've never seen Mad Men, but the guy Roger.
You would have been good in that.
Yeah, you would have been.
Yeah, what happened there?
Very stylish.
What happened there? I could have worn all those, and they might have let me keep the clothes.
Keep the clothes.
When in fact, sometimes I get it in my contract now.
Oh, you put.
If it's a contemporary thing, I get to keep.
I want an
clothes.
Armani suit, and I'm keeping it. What's your next project, and what are you wearing?
My next project, I don't know what I'm wearing. Because it's I'm doing a film called A Town in Nova Scotia. And it's shot in Liverpool. I'm playing an Irishman who has a non-romantic but deep friendship with a Moroccan man who's disabled in a high-rise in Liverpool. And my character gets obsessed with Grenfell, and he's worried about his friend. It sounds, an unhappy film. It's actually quite funny.
Who's directing it?
And the man who's directing it is an Iranian director called Babak Jalila. And I think it's a good thing. I've just spent 3 months in a caravan in 1975, dressed like my dad. I sent a picture of myself. Those little woolen waistcoats with buttons? You'd wear it under a suit.
Yeah.
My dad always used to wear a shirt and tie, and I was wearing one and big double pleated trousers, and I sent a picture to my sister, and she went, "Oh my God!" And she thought it was, I didn't put a caption, so she thought it was Dad, I think, because I look so much like my dad.
Can we talk about where you grew up, who was around the dinner table, and what is a very memorable dish from your childhood?
Well, I grew up in Caterham, Caterham,
Just down the road, darling.
not very far.
Where is that?
Sorry.
Yeah, down from Croydon. And my dad came from Croydon, and they moved out to Caterham to have a family. And I grew up with my brother Martin and my sister Anna, but I'm the youngest. And around the dinner table would have been my dad and my mum and my sister for quite a long time. But they left home, both my brother and my sister, they left home, and I was there, just the three of us, for quite a long time. My grandmother, when she was alive, did all the cooking because my mum went out to work and my dad went out to work, obviously. And therefore, my grandmother kind of cooked for me, and she was Irish, and she cooked basically the same thing every day of the week. And you'd have fish and chips on Friday because we were. I was brought up a Catholic, and we'd have sausage with onion gravy, and probably mashed potato, which I can't do now because I'm squeamish about the gravy mixing up with the mash.
Okay.
You have talked about that you were in charge of your gravy at
on Sunday, my 2 jobs were the gravy and the custard.
Right.
And there was nothing wrong with my custard. There was nothing wrong with my gravy. And a bit of Marmite goes a long way.
It goes.
So,
Not in the custard.
I think I love Marmite as much as you.
oh, wow.
And I know you may not be able to believe that.
No, I'm prepared to, suspend my disbelief.
Bill went to the same school as my hairdresser's son goes to. John Fisher.
Yeah, I did. I do.
Hold on,
It's
say
a
that
huge
again.
Catholic. My
Right,
hairdresser's son goes
Right.
to John Fisher School.
Your hairdresser's son. Okay, got it. Right
goes
now. Okay.
goes to the same school as Bill. Did you used to go to the Pearly Orchid?
Did I? No, I missed the Pearly
Oh
Orchid.
my God.
What's the Pearly Orchid?
It was
Pearly
where
Orchid.
you went.
Well, the Pearly Orchid was a ballroom, and it was near me. I did go there occasionally, but I was a bit young for it. And it was claimed to be the largest dance floor in Europe,
Oh.
whether that's true or not.
Can I ask you? I interrupted you. You were talking about you're squeamish about mash and gravy.
Yeah,
together.
I was that difficult kid. I used to have the beans on the side and the toast on the other side.
particular.
Because if the butter and the juice from the tomato juice of the beans got together, it disqualified
But
me.
hang on, like your favourite thing is Marmite on toast with beans.
I got over it. I got over
thank
it. Yeah,
God.
yeah. I got over. But you have to make. Somebody told me just last week. Somebody told me. I thought, why didn't it was my nephew, I think, who said that because the whole thing is that the bread's got to be crispy under the beans. It can't go that word that's on the band list, which begins with S and ends with Y, and has an O and 2 G's in it.
Soggy.
Yeah, you had to say it, didn't
Sorry.
you?
Do you prefer soggy to moist?
Neither. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I prefer moist. I believe we're having this conversation. No, but he said he used to let the toast go cold because it would be crispier and harder. Yeah.
Okay, that's quite good intel. But I guess then the beans are going to kind of warm it back up.
Well, yeah, exactly. As long as you've got really hot beans.
Have you tried this out yet?
I haven't, no, because I've sort of given up. I don't eat at home anymore.
So you eat out all the time?
I eat out all the time. I go to the cafe for breakfast. I sometimes have lunch. I'm not very good at lunch, and I have dinner always out with a book.
We heard you like Puttanesca.
Thank you. I do.
You don't like to call it Puttanesca, though.
Well, I don't mind privately calling it
Fine.
Puttanesca, but I just wonder about in public
Respectfully.
domain.
Got it.
Respectfully, everyone.
So I've done nothing. Mum has made you Puttanesca.
It looks absolutely fantastic,
We
and
can
I'm
put
not lying or kidding.
We can put some chili flakes too.
I want as
on the
many.
side,
I just put them in
Lenny's
it.
not great with heat.
Oh no, that's fine.
So
That's
I'm
fine.
gonna like you.
Some hot sauce.
What
Yeah,
would you-
hot sauce. Hot sauce. There's the Marmite. It's a plastic Marmite. I'm slightly uneasy about that.
Not putting Marmite in.
Thank you. No, not
They're
Marmite.
just in
No.
case you need chili.
This
But I've
is
done some
absolutely-
cajun peppers for you as well. You really like hot.
Are you?
I
So
love it.
as somebody that I feel like gives advice, have you ever been told off for adding too much hot sauce, and offending this is not to say you're offending us, by the way.
Or is it too hot?
Mama, it's fine.
Okay, there's
I
a
feel like you've
bowling-
got like numb taste buds and tongue by this point. If you
Right,
I
there.
don't really know.
There's some grated Parmesan, or you can grate your own.
Thank you. I've always had a tolerance for spice, and in the old days when they used to have, they don't seem to have it anymore. But when you went to an Indian restaurant, they'd have vindaloo, they'd have madras,
Yeah.
vindaloo, and phal,
Yeah.
Phal. And I would always go for the phal, and that's when the waiters start sort of hovering around just to have a laugh.
Yeah.
They think that you're going to implode or something.
were you doing it because you wanted to test yourself? or
No,
was
I
it-
just wanted. I was
Do you want a
drawn.
bowl for some salad in case you want some?
Yeah, thank you very much.
Hold on. I haven't dressed the salad because I don't know.
I was drawn to the heat. I didn't even think about it. It was just like, I don't think I gave it much thought. I just wanted the heat. And I've always had it. There's only a couple of times when anything's
Delicious, Mum. Thanks.
Is it?
lovely.
Lovely.
Too hot. I'm just going to have a taste of this because it looks absolutely perfect.
Any good?
Oh, Lenny,
Is it?
really, really, really.
I think
Nice.
that's going to be too spicy for you.
Probably.
And did you see how much hot sauce he just put on? I think you should do hot ones. Have you heard about that?
No. Oh, no.
The chicken wings.
Where they
I think you could get to the
it's like a spice challenge.
Hot.
Where they
See, she's got like, look, and did you not see what he put on?
It's spicy.
Oh, bless you.
Shit.
Would you never do it?
No.
Why?
Well, because they might find something that will make my eyes water. I used to go to a very good Indian restaurant in Notting Hill Gate, and I used to sit in restaurants. Like used to go to a Thai restaurant in the Archway, and I go there all the time, and they know that I want it as spicy as it can possibly be. But I never, ever was able just to leave it alone. I'd always, each time, even though I went there once a week, I'd have to say, as they were walking away, I'd say, yeah, but can it be really, you know? And she'd have a hand on the door of the kitchen. I'd say, excuse me, can it be like, she'd be like, yeah, like she didn't know, you know. But then one time in the Indian restaurant in Notting Hill Gate, they came over with a special chili, and they showed it to me, and they said, this is really, really hot.
Yeah.
And I said, well, that's fine, you know, put it on the thing. Mm-hmm. And they said, well, you've got to be really... I was like, yeah, right, really? And then it nearly blew my ears off. And I had to fake it and sit there and pretend that I was completely relaxed.
And did you... So you didn't ask for yogurt or milk?
No, I didn't dare, because it would have spoiled my image. So...
So you eat out 3 times a day.
Well,
you eat out
twice a day.
Okay, twice.
Always twice a day, sometimes 3 times a day.
Okay, so you start in the calf. Is it always the same calf?
Mm-hmm. My average breakfast currently is 2 poached eggs on Marmite toast, obviously, with a bit of avocado on the quiet, with olive oil and pepper.
Why avocado on the quiet?
I mean, it's me attempting to be amusing by not saying on the side, but saying on the quiet.
Okay, got it. Sorry,
it's just a little thing I do sometimes to make me more attractive. But you've busted me, so there you go. But and then I have a banana, because the doctor told me I should eat 2 bananas a day.
Why?
I don't know. Just it was like one of those things. Potassium, I guess. Yeah, he did say 2. I never managed to.
Banana.
Pardon?
Do you like bananas?
I do like bananas. I'm not.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Do you like them ripe or firm? I like them firm, lemony.
That's what she said.
I don't like them. I can't. But there's a peak moment, isn't there, with a banana, which you very rarely, manage to hit them at.
How do you have your coffee?
I don't have coffee in the morning anymore. I have tea. I have 2 cups of Yorkshire tea, reaching out for sponsorship, and I have it very, 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 very strong, as strong as I can. I do take the tea bag out. I have it made in the cup with a tea bag. I don't want a pot, because that, it's a waste of time. I want it straight to the cup, and I leave it in quite a long time, and I mash it and mash it and mash it until every drop of caffeine is released into the liquid, and then I hit it with the tiniest drop of milk. And I have one of those in the morning before I leave the house, and then I have another one after my breakfast in the cafe. And if I had any sense, that would be the end of my caffeine day. But I don't have any sense, and it depends on if I'm working. I have had a history of coffee abuse, and I used to drink massive amounts of espresso and drink incredible amounts of Coca-Cola and smoke ridiculous and deeply regretted amounts of cigarettes, but I'm over that now.
Yeah, you're sugar-free now, huh?
I am.
How long have you been sugar-free?
If I had my phone, I can tell you, 1,350 days.
Are you monitoring? Have you got an app where?
My friend Mick Jones and I discovered that we had the same relationship with sugar. So, and I used to fall off wagons. I'd get quite a long time, but then it would always turn out to be a wagon, and wagons are for one thing only, which is falling off. And I would binge. The last time I seriously fell off a wagon, I went to the sweet shop. I'm like an 8-year-old with a credit card. I went to the sweet shop and I bought a sack of chocolate and other sweets.
Right.
And I bought 2 of everything, and it was a carrier bag full of stuff. And I was walking home through my area, and I thought, if I meet anyone that I know, it's possible they might say, "What's in the bag?"
Yeah.
And I would have to say, "I'm visiting an orphanage tomorrow, and I've bought something for the children," because there would be no other way of explaining how a man of my age was walking around with a sack full of high street chocolate.
How much did you do of the sack?
Well, I crossed the line because I went home and I did something I'd never done before,
Yeah.
which turned out to be a good thing, was that I went to bed with the sack and I got the whole of the chocolate out on the cover, the bed cover. And then I went to Mars and looked back down and saw this man in very late middle age, I was younger then, with a bed covered in high street chocolate.
You saw yourself.
I saw myself. So I put it all back in the bag, and I put the bag in the rubbish, and I didn't go back to take it out of the rubbish. So you can tell that this is my relationship with sugar, right? But then Mick and I have been texting each other, just day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you meet people and you tell them about it, and they go, well, I'm the same. Or can my girlfriend come? And can my mum, my sister's like, So now there are 60 people registered.
This is a...
We're called the Sugar-Free Pioneers.
So, back to a day in the life of Bill and eating. So you're going to start. Marmite's going to be there. Poached eggs at the moment. The 2 bananas. Where are you going for lunch?
If I went to lunch in my area, I might go to Cacio Pepe in Churton Street, where Wafay and Samir, who are brothers and sisters who run the restaurant, would sort me out with their perennial exquisite fish soup. And I might accompany that with a bit of burrata and tomatoes and have them at the same time.
Where are you getting your chili from at that meal?
Oh, they have a special bottle.
For you?
Well, I like to think it's for me. I'm not sure. I can't guarantee it's for me, but I think it's for me. And it's chili oil, which they make on the premises. And that goes all over my everything. It goes in the soup, makes the soup much more interesting. I mean, I'm not big on lunch, really. It's not, I don't have a lot of lunches.
Okay.
Unless if I'm working, then it's, it'll be, I always have the same thing, which is I have mozzarella and cherry tomatoes in my trailer at work. And I always have that, but I always have, if they've got chips on that day, I'll have chips with it. Or if they've got any kind of
I
potato.
don't really like mozzarella.
You do or you not?
It doesn't taste of anything.
I know him.
Yeah, but...
Yeah, I don't. It's kind of I don't find it's kind of rubbery and tasteless. And burrata makes me feel faint when you cut into it, and it just oozes out. Ugh.
Well, then you shouldn't go out for lunch with...
I'm not going out for lunch with
Bill.
you, Bill.
Okay.
Okay, and then...
We'll have dinner. We'll have dinner.
Where are you going for dinner?
I rotate several restaurants. I go to Tozi, Tozi. I go to Vasco and Piero's Pavilion at number 11 Darblay Street, which I've been going to for years and years and years. I just got lucky once and wandered in off the street. And it's an exemplary restaurant. And it's not a scene. It's quiet and I can read. And it's, but the food is terrific. And that's one of my favourite restaurants in London. I used to go to all of Jeremy King and Christopher Corbin's restaurants. Because why wouldn't you?
So have you stopped going to the Wolsey then? Do you go to
No.
Arlington?
I did stop going to the Wolsey because I thought I was doing that out of respect for Jeremy and Christopher. But in fact, I got a kind of wayward 3-tier down message saying, do continue to go to the Wolsey because for the staff, and all of that. So I do go to the Wolsey.
I love the Wolsey.
And I go to Sheiky's.
Never been.
I went to Sheiky's 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Who with?
My friends, my colleagues.
Oh.
It was her favourite
Was it delicious?
place. I had skate. I love skate. You have to scrape all the fish off and it's so delicious, because it's all the bones and it's sweet and delicious.
My mum used to like skate.
Do you always go out on your own? You're on your own a lot.
Well, I am on my own, and I like that.
You can read.
I'm unattached, and I don't cook. I do have now a small dualit, reaching out for sponsorship, dualit kind of oven, little oven thing.
Yeah.
Which I was persuaded to have. The first time I had a flat properly of my own, and the builders were taking out the old gas cooker because I just see it looked terrible. And they said, when's the new one coming? I said, there's not going to. I was deciding how to live. I said, well, there's not going to be a new one.
It's like Carrie Bradshaw.
Yeah.
Why would I have a new one?
I mean, you're kind of like a New Yorker.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Yeah,
They just eat out all the
eat
time,
out.
don't they?
They never eat in.
Well, then yes, I am. Yeah.
Do you order in so you can stay
No,
at
I
home
never order
and
in.
watch
I
telly
don't
and
believe
read?
in. I can't relax around takeaway food. I just doesn't. By the time it gets to me, I think it's over. You know what I mean?
What, the anticipation and the kind of...
No, just the packaging.
Oh, the
It's the packaging and the fact that I don't know.
Presentation isn't-
It's been on a bike. You know what I mean? It just. I mean, I don't. And then you've got to get rid of stuff. Yeah. I did do it. I mean, I did like everyone during COVID. I did it quite a lot, but I never enjoyed it. I don't get a bang out of it at all. I like to go out, and it's a lot of it. A lot of it is to do with the book, because it's reading time, and I read at breakfast, and I read at lunch if I have it, and I read at dinner. Those are my big reading times. I mean, I'm not always on my own. I have dinner with friends sometimes. I have got friends, but I don't. But I have no problem. I once was making a film with Richard Curtis, and at the end of a working day, he said, "Where are you going?" I said, "I'm going for dinner." He said, "Oh, where are you going?" I said, "I'm going to a Thai restaurant in the Archway." He said, "Who are you going with?" I said, "Nobody. I'm just going on my own." He went, "You're going on your own?" I was like, "Yeah." And you've got to be careful what you say to writers, because the next day there were a couple of pages and it said, "He eats alone."
Are you doing theatre anytime soon?
No, I don't think so. No, I can't imagine what that would be, but you never know.
Do you enjoy theatre?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a big part of my life.
Yeah.
I started out in the theatre. I was, it was years after I started being an actor before I was in front of a camera. And I was very, very happy. I never really thought times were very different. And my expectations, I think, were kind of very low and would be considered to be low. I didn't think they were low. But I thought it was going to be a life in the theatre, and I thought that, and I was perfectly relaxed and happy with that. But then, anyway, but enjoy is a word I always have trouble with, but you know what I mean? But I do, I mean, if I was to tell my grandchildren, not that they're ever going to ask, but if I was to tell them, if they said, what were the most satisfying moments of your professional career, a lot of them would be in the theatre, when nobody can remember, and they won't, and it's gone, obviously. But there are times, because I find it very alarming. My job is quite alarming, generally speaking, and to be live in a theatre, in a play in a theatre, is quite a reckless thing to attempt. It's amazing that I persevered, because I suffered agonies of self-doubt live on stage all the time.
It was almost like punishment to yourself.
I honestly can't tell you why anyone in my position then would have carried on. The only reason I can give, which I think is probably, I don't know, I'm not a reliable witness, but I think it was because I couldn't stand the idea of having that conversation where they say, "You still acting?" And me saying, "No, I don't do that now. I gave that, I just couldn't bear my pride. I was prideful, and I couldn't bear the thought of that conversation. So I just kept, and I didn't have a plan B anyway. I didn't have any levels. I flunked school.
Didn't you go to Marseille to avoid doing your GCSEs or something?
Well, it was sort of that, yeah. They were then called O levels, but yeah, GCSEs. And I did run away. We were going, me and my friend Peter, we ran away. That wasn't the only reason. It wasn't just because you saw the GCSEs coming, but we ran away. We were going to go, we'd looked at the map, and we were going to go to, shows you how old I am, we were going to go to the Persian Gulf. We'd seen it.
Which doesn't exist now.
Anyway, then it sounded good, the Gulf sounded great. I had no idea what it meant. And but we got as far as Marseille, and we got to the docks, and we were trying to jump a ship to go to wherever, the next bit of the journey. And then there were these very spooky guys down there. There was one guy in leather trousers, you see what I'm saying? And a red top. And he had peroxide hair, and he was very, very keen to get to know us.
Oh, sorry, Mum's got... Yeah, don't mind us. How are you about phones
It's your
at the
agent.
dinner table?
No, it isn't.
Right.
And in the end, we got very, very hungry, and we went to the British consulate and said, "Can we go home now?" And it cost £25 to take me home, and it took me about 3 years to pay it back, working on the petrol pumps. And my dad was not happy.
Furious.
You can imagine.
Did you have to resit your exams? Or?
No, they came up and I just flunked them. I mean, I got nothing really. I got a D in something in English literature, I think. It was, I just didn't get, it was a disaster. And then I was asked to leave, and I went to work and I went down the youth employment agency. You used to go down the youth employment agency with your mum. I went with my mum, and the bloke said, he had a big book of jobs, and he said, "What do you want to be?" And no one had, it was a big day for me, because nobody had ever asked me, And I said, "Well, I want to be an author," because, that was what I wanted to be. And he said, "Well, we don't have any jobs for author." And I said, "Well, no, I didn't think you would." But my mother put her foot on top of my foot under the desk and just pressed down really hard, as if to say, "Don't be so bloody stupid." You know what I mean? Author. And then he said, "Well, what if we look in the book and we'll see if there's something that might lead you to being..." And I went, "All right." And he got me a job as a messenger boy on the Field magazine, which was hunting, shooting and fishing. I don't think it existed.
Nice, though.
Yeah, no, it was a good job.
I mean, it was better than working in a,
Yeah, it was a great job.
garage,
They used to
really.
put me, I was a kid from the suburbs, and they put me in black cabs, and they give me, and I'd go and change all the magazines in the hotels, all the big hotels, in their racks, and you'd get a cheese roll around the back and a cup of tea, and it was all... I used to wave at Rolls Royces. I was totally overexcited about being in town, And I waved at one Rolls Royce, and when I got back to the office, I got called to the managing director's office, and I thought I was going to be fired. And he said, "I was just driving in my car, and I passed you in the street, and you started to jump up and down and wave at my car. That's not the sort of behaviour we expect from..." Yeah, I got busted for waving at the wrong car. But anyway, so it was a good... and in the end, Lord Harmsworth, who was the man who ran the whole affair, he said, "If you get..." Again, it shows how long ago. "If you get shorthand and typing, we'll put you in the sub-editor's office." So, that was writing words for money. So it was going to... But I used to have to change the roller... towel in the ladies' room, and there was a typing pool with all these quite, slightly older than me, but glamorous women, young women, and they would always do this thing of whenever I went in to change the roller towel in the ladies' room, they would all come in, and there was a bed in the ladies' room where you could lie down if you felt, faint or anything. And they'd all come in and pretend to need to be in the ladies' room just to wind me up, because I was very easy to wind up, and I would blush and I would fumble the fucking roller towel, and and then I'd just scamper away. But that was one of my jobs, and it was a nice job. And Mr. Dale, who was my immediate superior, who was the kind of live-in janitor and caretaker, he said, "You should be in the army. Why aren't you in the army?" Well, a lot of people used to say that at that time. It sort you out. You've got everything in the army. But I was going to go to... I'd read, I am a walking, talking cliche. I'd read Movable Feast by Ernest Hemingway, everything by F. Scott Fitzgerald, anyone who'd been in Paris between 1918 and 1930. And I was going to go to Paris and write the great English short story. And I ran away again, and I threw my suitcase out the window. Literally, my mate caught it. And I went to Paris, and I went straight to Shakespeare and Company, the very famous bookshop there, and I hoped that, I would write killer sentences and get a girlfriend.
And?
I didn't write a word, and I ended up...
a girlfriend?
And I didn't get a girlfriend, no. Wow. There was a girl in England who was the first girl who'd ever paid any attention to me, and I overreacted catastrophically. I only lasted about 3 weeks, and I didn't know what to say to her or what to do. And quite rightly, she fired me. But I thought if I go to Paris, it might impress her. And when I came home, she couldn't have been less impressed. She was like, "Paris? What were you doing in Paris?" I was like, and I had no answer for that. So, but I went, and we ended up. My friend Brendan Thomas Eliot, my oldest friend, and I ended up in Paris, and we begged on the Trocadero, and "Avez-vous un franc pour moi, madame?" It's about all my French I got. And they used to And the photographers on the Trocadero would come over with wads of cash, and they'd show you rolls of cash, and they'd say Madame Cuckoo's, and they would explain that if you went to Madame Cuckoo's and if you made love to what they called older women, you'd get 250 francs and your dinner. But I'd never made love to anyone, and I was waiting on the future Mrs. Nighy, and I didn't want to cheat on her before she turned up, you know what I mean? So, and Brendan, I don't think had ever, been with a girl. I don't know. I'm sorry, Brendan. You probably were very experienced sexually. But we never went. But we used to sit there counting how many women we would have to sleep with in order to buy a Harley Davidson. Because there were these blokes that used to, because it was before helmets. That's how old I am. It was like you could cruise around all the cafes in Paris with big aviator shades, lots of hair, and great shoes and a suit on, That's all we did. We just sat on the Trocadero and tried to get enough money to go to the Street of 1,000 Nicks. We used to call it. It was actually called Rue Mouille Fouille or something. And we would go in, and we had a trench coat. I don't know whether I should do this, but
Do it.
we had a trench coat with big pockets inside. So and it was before, CCTV. And you could go in, and one of us, we'd get like 20 centimes from somebody on the Trocadero. We'd pretend to mistake Americans for Parisians. That was the scam. You'd say, now you'd go over and you'd say, avez-vous un programme, madame? J'ai très soif, j'ai très faim. That's all I know. And they'd say, oh my God, when did you last eat? And you go, well, my parents were recently divorced, and my check, the check that I generally hasn't come through, and I wouldn't.
Do a French accent when you were doing this?
No. But you would mistake them you'd pretend that you'd mistaken them for a local person, like a Parisian.
Okay.
And they would give you 20 centimes, which was very little money, but it would be enough to get in the shop. And then one of us would go up the shop and try and spend the 20 and take a long time working out which chocolate bar, while the other one went round the shop. And Brendan would do stupid things like he'd get a tin of salmon, and we get to the park, and I'd say, what are we supposed to do with the tin of salmon? Because you couldn't open it because it hadn't got a thing on it. You needed we didn't have,
Do you think that was like your first acting gig?
Yeah, there was an element of acting, I suppose, yeah.
Darling, would you like some cheese with some biscuits?
I'll have a little bit of something, yeah, that would be
What would you
great.
like?
I like the look of...
These. Which ones?
What are they?
They look like matzah.
They look nice.
Okay.
Where do you stand on sweets for grandchildren?
Well, you're sugar-free, so this is interesting.
Yeah.
I know, but my grandchildren are not sugar-free.
Yeah.
And my grandchildren, when they come to my house, and I always say, don't tell your mother. And then they run home immediately and say, he lets us have anything we want.
Exactly. I'll say this. You can't tell Mum and Dad because this is a secret. The first thing she does is, Grandma told me a secret that I've had Haribo's,
Yeah.
Grandma.
Yeah, they don't get the concept
Of being a secret. Yeah. Here, darling.
I'm glad you provide butter with the cheese and crackers. A lot of people don't. It's very nice.
God, you did right. You did
Thank
well,
God
Mum.
I'm done.
That's perfect. I can't understand why people don't have butter with it.
Last Supper.
Last Supper. Oh.
It doesn't have to be as sad as that.
No.
You can be going to a desert island for a very long time.
Yeah.
What would it consist? I feel like I know the breakfast.
Yeah.
But would you take us through a starter, a main, a pud, and a drink of choice?
I'd either have asparagus if it was in season, with olive oil and lemon. Oh, I tell you another restaurant I love. I love Giovanni's in Goodwin's Court in Covent Garden. And that makes me think of asparagus because Pino, who runs the exemplary Giovanni's in Goodwin's Court, prepares the asparagus in a very wonderful way. So that, or I would have a soup. And if it was going to be a soup, I do like a really, really good minestrone soup.
Oh, I do too.
Or a really good vegetable soup. I really love it.
I made lovely veggie.
There is
Yeah, I love it.
at Vasco and Piero's Pavilion in number 11 Darblay Street in London's Soho, they do a starter which is carpaccio of tuna with ginger ginger dressing, which I always have, and it comes with a little salad of avocado and onion. But the ginger and balsamic dressing is absolutely, sensational. Actually, I'll have that
Okay.
So I'll have the tuna carpaccio with ginger a la Vasco's. I'll have it with the ginger and balsamic dressing. And then for my main course, well, I think that Puttanesca is about as good as it gets. I think if it were I'm not being cute. I mean, I really do like.
It's cute though.
I do like, if that was my main course, I'd be very, very happy.
Good.
And I would want a fabulous fruit salad, which is an art in itself.
Yeah,
Because
I think
now that I'm thankfully free of all sugar concerns, and I never have to think about it. I've become a connoisseur of the fruit salad because
Give us the perfect fruit salad, please,
well,
Bill.
I mean, the Woolsey does a good. You don't want all that juice. I mean, the perfect one. You've got to have pineapple because it's got more sugar in it than anything else. I would have mandarins, banana, pineapple,
Banana.
Just a little bit of banana.
Bill.
All right,
Very
okay.
controversial
Okay,
banana in fruit
forget the
salad.
banana.
Fruit salad.
Okay, fine.
Well, it's only to give it a bit of oomph. I mean, it's not like a lot of banana. Just
It does go soggy.
You said it again.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
You said it again.
But
In a
then
minute,
something
you're going to say runny, and then we're going to have to close the whole thing down. It's these are words
All
that
right, mushy.
Oh well, there's another one.
Oh my God.
How can you? I never have mushy peas. I always have regular peas with fish and chips, obviously. But anyway, yeah. So all right, no banana, mandarin, pineapple, raspberries, blueberries,
Yeah.
and a little bit of melon. But don't go mad.
No, I don't know if this would be allowed
Go on.
for sugar free. Would you be allowed stem ginger?
No, I wouldn't. But you see, you have to remember that well, you don't have to remember because you don't know yet. I'm about to tell you.
Okay.
But on the Sugar Free Pioneer WhatsApp group, there are no rules.
Okay.
There's no police.
Okay.
Nobody says you can't have that.
Right.
Because that's unattractive and wrong. So if you can live with stem ginger, go ahead. But for me, it could be. I don't know. I think I have had stem ginger.
Yeah, we put in our fruits, our special fruits.
Well, it sounds great.
We put stem ginger and light cheese.
Lychees make me nervous.
Me too.
Oh, really?
They're like eyeballs.
Yeah. Well, now you've brought it up. Yeah. I know they do.
very peculiar.
They
But
make
they're very
me.
nice in our fruit salad.
I've never been a fan of them, and I remember you used to get them because Hannah, my sister, likes them.
There you are. I see.
Your brother.
I find them very peculiar. It's coming up to Christmas, and so you know what time that is. It becomes Love Actually time.
Oh,
Are
yeah.
you so exhausted by it, or does it still kind of tickle you every year that it comes around?
Yeah. It still gives me pleasure that something as kind of benign as that, thank you very much, something that promotes, the best of people, has entered the language like that. I mean, it's, the fact that nobody knew when they were making it that it would become, I mean, it's a Christmas movie, so it might, you might expect it to be played at Christmas, but it's entered the language in a way that I don't know. Very few films do, and I've had people come up, tell me all kinds of things from it helped me through my chemo to, I got married to the song, or, there's all kinds, and they have evenings where they dress up as the characters and stuff, it's like that.
Oh my goodness.
But I don't get bored with it. I'm very, very happy. I was very happy to be in it, and it's fabulous that it carries on. I mean, I am more famous at Christmas, there's no question about it. A woman came up to me the other day and said, "You're Mr. Christmas, aren't you?" I said,
Do you like Christmas?
"Yeah, I don't mind Christmas. I'm not, so I don't mind it."
Some people love it. You like your husband.
My husband, it's like
He started making mince meat.
1st of December, he allows himself to have his first mince pie.
Oh, really?
We've got mince
Meat.
meat that's been
September.
getting ready since September,
Wow.
and we've got enough for like 3 years.
Wow.
He's obsessed.
When Love Actually first came out, the kids across the street where I was living used to chase me down the street shouting, "Hey kids, don't buy drugs. Become a rock star. People give you them for free," which is a joke from Love Actually. And once I was going through immigration from Canada to the United States in about 4 o'clock in the morning or something. There was nobody in the hall apart from me. And there were 3 guys behind glass booths. And one of them had a big black moustache. And I thought, don't give me the guy with the big black moustache. And he eventually he pointed at me and he said, "Hey, kids, don't buy drugs. Become a rock star. People give you them for free. Am I right? Am I right?" Like that. And I was like, "Drugs? No. I got no drugs." It was like, a couple of times it's really helped me where I've cruised through certain things, Like, I think I hold the record for getting a visa out of the American embassy. I mean, it took 8 minutes. And I think they know my work. I could be fooling myself and I just got lucky. But it's like at the American embassy, you sit there with your number. And you could sit there for 3 hours. Honestly, it was under 10 minutes. The guy said, "Oh, please come with me."
I'm going with you next time, Bill.
Yeah, come with me.
Your O1's up, and I'll come with you.
Come with me. I'll get you in and out.
Before we let you go, it's been a total pleasure, but we have a few more questions. Mum, would you like to ask any?
Which song? I know you play air guitar very, very well.
Thank you.
You can't really do karaoke air guitar. Maybe you can. But which song would you sing or play air guitar to? Which would be your favourite song?
That's a very good question.
Yeah.
If I was going to air guitar to a guitar solo, the first thing that comes to mind is a song called "Hook Me Up" by Johnny Guitar Watson. Check out the guitar. Check out the guitar sound. I'm a big Johnny Guitar Watson fan, and I'm on a mission to reintroduce him to the world generally.
Can you give us a couple of air guitar chords?
You mean and make the noises?
No.
I mean, I'd love to see that, but no, you don't have to.
No, I won't do. I can't just. I have to prepare. I've got to tune.
Okay, sorry.
I've got to tune it. I've got to tune it.
Yeah.
I've got to get it. Bow. I've got to get it right.
What would be your guitar of choice?
It's not going to be a ukulele, is it?
It's not going to be a ukulele. No, I mean, I don't really know. My brother is the one who knows all about guitars. He's got loads of guitars. Oh, actually, he's got the new Johnny Marr 7-string guitar.
7-string?
Yeah, it's very, very cool.
And before we'll let you go, can you please give us a nostalgic taste that can transport you back somewhere?
Or scent?
I don't really have a scent that takes me back. I probably do, but I just don't know what it's
But it
called.
doesn't have to be a scent, perfume. It can be a smell.
Well, the smell of Swarfiga and Marmite sandwiches.
What's Swarfiga?
Well, because I was...
Mechanics use to wash their hands with. It's like a greasy...
Yeah, because I was not born in, I was born in a hospital, but I was brought up in my early years in a house that was part of a petrol station. So the petrol pumps were outside our front door and the workshop was next to the kitchen and my dad was the works manager. And I used to clean cars sometimes. But that smell of Swarfiga, which I don't know if they have anymore, which is a kind of, it's not liquid soap, but it's sort of like a jelly, it's like a jelly soap. And I used to wash cars and I used to have Marmite sandwiches. And the combination of Swarfiga on your hands and the Marmite is very evocative. It's not particularly romantic, I understand, but it does.
I love it.
It does take me back.
Bill Nighy, thank you for coming here and being such a great guest.
Thank you very much indeed. It's been a pleasure.
And best of luck with the podcast.
Thank you very much.
I think you don't need it because I think it's going very, very well. Are you enjoying it?
Yeah, it's very nice to spend time with my fabulous producer, Alice Williams, who I understand is your producer too.
Yes.
It's been fun. I mean, I was very nervous about it, I'm nervous about most things, and I pulled out 3 times or something before I finally did it, and because I just thought I'm going to make a fool of myself. But actually, the reaction has been very favourable, and people seem to like it, and it is it is an invitation to waste time. That's which I think is it's not nothing. There aren't many opportunities to do that, and I try and be reasonable company while it's happening.
You're great company.
You're good
You're
fun.
excellent
Yeah.
company.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's actually a waste for you to sit on your own reading a book. You should be entertaining people at dinner every night.
Well,
No, he's still going out for dinner on his own tonight, reading a book.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Bill.
pleasure.
Bill Nighy, what a storyteller.
a styler.
What a star.
What a fabulous man.
Oh, I loved having Bill.
Yeah.
He was so open and fab, and the stories are brilliant.
I know, I love his stories.
And the suit.
He reminded me of Paul Smith a little bit.
Yes, he did,
that
actually.
style.
Totally.
Very slender, looks super cool in suits. I think a man in a suit, you can't go wrong.
I really enjoyed having him over. I enjoyed him having seconds of the Puttanesca.
Yeah.
The Puttanesca was really good.
So hot.
It was not that hot, and then he put so much more spice on it.
I thought I was going to faint. I had a hot flush on when I started to eat it.
Cheeseboard. We need to do that more often, Mum.
People like a cheeseboard, don't
I
they?
like a cheeseboard.
Well, Americans like it before their dinner.
They do. Thank you to Bill Nighy for coming on Table Manners. His new podcast, Ill Advised by Bill Nighy, is out now, and it's really good.
I find it so odd when you look that way.
Well, I'm just trying to be pro, Mum.
When you're talking, not when you should be
Sorry,
talking
should I?
Yeah.
All eyes on Lem.
Yeah, all eyes on me.
We'll see you next week.